Welcome back. Now we will discuss about the duty ethics, rights ethics, virtue ethics. Then we will discuss a case and see the application of all these theories in how we solve a moral uh, dilemma, and we will get to understand some techniques of solving ethical dilemmas. So let us start with the discussion of duty ethics. The two ethical theories of duty ethics and rights ethics are similar to each other, and we will be considering here both of these things together. So, both of these theories tries to hold that those actions are good which respect the rights of the individual. So here we see a departure from the utilitarian concept. If you remember, in utilitarianism, we were more focused on the well-being of a group of people, the collectivist approach, but rights and duties perspective are focusing more on the rights of the individual. So here, good consequences for the society at large are not the only moral consideration. So, one of the major proponents of duty ethics was Immanuel Kant, who held that the moral duties are fundamental. Ethical actions are those actions that could be written down as a sort of list of duties, like be honest, don't cause suffering to other people, be fair to others, etc. So again, if you see like this, be honest, don't cause suffering to others, and be fair to others, again if you see, these have some link to the act utilitarianism concept also. When we are looking at the acts of the individuals, what they need to do so that it leads to the collective well-being. Here what we are telling, these are the acts, duties to be followed by individuals so that the corresponding connected other set of individuals will be enjoying their rights, because we respect the rights of some person, of the other individual, and so it is a duty on the part of one for connected other individual to be honest, like not to cause suffering to other people, and to be fair to others. So these actions are our duties because they express respect for persons, express an unqualified regard for the autonomous moral agents, and these are very universal principles. Once one's duties are recognized, the ethically correct moral actions are obvious. In this formulation, ethical acts are a result of proper performance of one's duties. So if we understand like what is our duty, if we respect the rights of others, and if we have respect for others, we understand our set of duties towards ourselves and towards others, then we will be doing actions which are ethically correct. Rights ethics was given by John Locke, whose statement that human beings have a right to life, liberty, and property was paraphrased in the Declaration of Independence of the soon-to-be United States of America in 1776. So, it talks of rights ethics holds that the people have a fundamental rights that others have a duty to respect. So, that's why we are discussing both these theories together. It is not enough to claim or to understand that we have rights. It is equally important that the other connected people related to us do their corresponding duties, because we can enjoy our rights only when the corresponding duty is performed. And we can also tell this may extend to if you have a right to leave, and then others do have a duty to respect that and do their corresponding duty. Sometimes it is a duty of a person to himself or herself also. If I need to establish a particular right, then I need to realize my corresponding part of duty also. So we can discuss it that way also. So rights and duties goes hand in hand. Rights can only be established only when the corresponding duty towards it is performed. Now we will see the criticism of the rights and duty ethics. Again, just like the utilitarianism concept that we were discussing, the basic right of one person or a group may conflict with the basic rights of the another person or of another group. Dilemma may come over then whose rights do we prioritize? Whose rights we will answer to? Like in the example of the building of a dam, so people have the right to use their property. So if their land happens to be in the way of a proposed dam, then rights ethics would hold that the paramount right is the property right is paramount and is sufficient to stop the dam project. A single property holder's objection would require that the project be terminated. So, how do we prioritize over it? So, and when this comes in, next question will come about the justice, fairness of distribution, fairness of process, because if we are prioritizing a right of the person in terms of the dam is more important, and we are somewhat not prioritizing the right of the property for the person, then the person needs to be properly compensated for the loss of the property, and there will come the compensatory justice, which is should be equivalent to the value of the property and the loss that the person is incurring due to the project. So that will bring us into the discussion of the fairness of the process of the fairness of the distribution of justice. The second problem with duty and right ethics is that these theories do not account for the overall good of the society very well. Like we look into the dam project, if we tell if we try to say the person's right to property is paramount, and that's why this dam is not required over here. So we have to understand, we have to question, we have to go through many of the rational questioning of WH questions that we need to ask. Why is the dam? Who are going to get benefit of it? Can it have some alternate places? Why in this location? What can we do it in a different design so that this person's interest is maintained and also the dam could be done? So these type of analysis needs to be thinking needs to be done time and again before we arrive at a particular solution. So the drawback of the rights and duties theory is it focuses more on the individual and somewhat less on the overall requirement of a particular society. Next we'll come to the discussion of virtue ethics, which is a theory which is focused more on the nature of the person who is making a particular decision. Till now we have discussed about the how decisions are made and what is the outcome of the decision and whether it is like right or wrong, ethical or unethical, how the decision is made, whether it is as a process, whether it is right or wrong. But we have not focused on the qualities of the decision maker. Virtue ethics focuses on the qualities of the traits of the decision maker who makes the decision. So it is interested in determining what kind of person we should be. Virtue is often defined as a moral distinction and goodness. A virtuous person exhibits good and beneficial qualities. In virtue ethics, actions are considered to be right if they support good character traits and wrong if they support bad character traits. Virtue ethics focuses on words such as responsibility, honesty, competence and loyalty, which are virtues. Other virtues may include trustworthiness, fairness, caring, citizenship and respect. Vices could include dishonesty, disloyalty, irresponsibility and incompetence. So, if we have these qualities like trustworthiness, fairness, caring and respect, generally it is the philosophy of life, it is the way, it is the world view of a particular person who is trying to make a moral decision. So possessing these qualities like trustworthiness, fairness, caring, citizenship, respect for the rights of others, and so being responsible, honest, competent, loyal. So these will generate qualities within the person, within the decision maker, which will give him and her a perspective to look at moral dilemmas in such a way that person will get a very holistic outlook of life, to look at the problem from various perspectives and take a decision which is on the right ethical track. Now, when we have discussed all theories together, question may come up. We understand 4 different approaches of ethical problem solving, each having its benefits and also restrictions. Now, given a situation, which is that theory that we are going to use? Now, we are trying to discuss that with the help of a case. So, as we told, when we have discussed different ethical theories, we have to understand like which theories to use. So, it will help us if we discuss with the case. It will help us to see what different angles to be taken to a specific problem, analyze it from different angles, and it will help us to see what conclusion one reaches and frequently it may so happen that the results will be same even though the theories are different. So that is going to give a cross check again. So let us assume like there is a chemical plant near a small city that discharges a hazardous waste into the groundwater. If the city takes water from the wells, the water supply for the city will be compromised and significant health problems for the community may result. The right ethics indicates that this pollution is unethical since it causes harm to many of the residents. Utilitarian analysis will also probably come to the same conclusion since the economic benefit of the plant would almost certainly be outweighed by the negative effects of the pollution and the cost required to ensure a safe municipal water supply. Virtue ethics would say that the discharging waste into groundwater is an irresponsible act and harmful to individuals and should not be done. In all this case, all of the ethical theories lead to the same conclusion. But though in this case it has led to the same conclusion, it may sometimes happen that all the ethical theories may not lead to the same conclusion also. It, like we saw in the example of the dam, we may try to prove from the utilitarian perspective, like it is good to have the dam because it is beneficial maybe for a larger set of individuals. But finer look into the problem through the cost-benefit analysis or through rights and duties and virtue ethics may show like it will be beneficial if certain corrective actions are taken to answer for the harm caused to the people and to respect their rights and show our corresponding duties towards them so that they enjoy their rights and we are acting in a responsible way towards them. And maybe this will be the extension of the discussions when we talk of corporate social responsibilities. Because every project that we do, we cannot claim like we are not harming anyone. Every project that we do, every design that we do have a harm part involved in it. We cannot escape that. We cannot deny that. But then, should we stop doing the project? It depends on what actions we have taken to minimize the harm and to make the life better for the people or for the stakeholders who are suffering, paying the cost for the benefit of it, benefit that we think like our project is going to bring in, and how we are acting as engineers, as designers, how in a more responsible way we are acting. We recognize and we act towards minimizing the harm in a proactive way. What precautions do we take? What proactive measures that we take to answer to the rights? What duty do we feel like we have towards answering to the rights of the people whose rights are getting compromised because we are trying to bring in benefits for a larger set of people. So what balancing act we are doing for it is a major concern, and it's a major challenge of the whole project and the design. So while analyzing issues of solving ethical problems, so we have to understand, so what are the issues which are present in the problem. Once we can understand the issues which are present in the particular problem, then finding a solution to the problem becomes somewhat easy. The issues which are involved in understanding ethical problems can be split into three categories: factual, conceptual, and moral. Now, what are the factual issues? Factual issues involve what is actually known about a case. So, what the facts are. Although this concept seems straightforward, the facts of a particular case are not always clear and may be controversial. In engineering, there are controversies over facts as well. So, like global warming is of great concern to society as we continue to emit greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. This issue is of great importance to engineers since they might be required to design new products or redesign old ones to comply with stricter environmental standards if this warming effect indeed proves to be a problem. Second are conceptual issues. Conceptual issues deals with the meaning or applicability of a particular idea. In engineering ethics, this might mean defining what constitutes a bribe as opposed to acceptable gift, or determining whether certain business information is proprietary. So these are abstract concepts, and how it gets applied may change, and for the purpose for what it is getting applied may determine whether if you get something, whether it is a gift or it is a bribe, then which information of a business is proprietary and which is not. So, like factual issues, conceptual issues are always not clear-cut and may result in controversy as well. Next, we come to moral issues. So, once the factual issues and conceptual issues are resolved, so then we have to understand which is the moral principle which is applicable to the situation. So, resolution of moral issues is often more obvious. Once the problem is defined, it is usually clear which moral concept applies, and the correct decision becomes obvious. But to reach at this stage, the previous two exercises of stating the facts correctly, getting the concepts clear correctly is very important, so that we can get a background to solid platform to apply your moral theories. For example, in the case when a gift is offered by a sales representative, once it is determined whether it is simply a gift or is really a bribe, then the appropriate action is obvious. If we determine it is a bribe, then it cannot be ethically accepted. But this analysis at the previous stages, at fact and conceptual level, is very important. We will try to understand this through a case study which we call paradigm computers. So in paradigm computers, what happened? It is a computer company which is bid to supply the Social Security Administration with new computer systems. So we'll look at the factual issue first. The request for proposals clearly specified that the only existing systems will be considered. Paradigm did not have any such system running and had never tested the operating system on the product they actually proposed to sell to the SSA. The employment of a former SSA worker by Paradigm to help lobby SSA for the contract is also clear. In this case, the factual issues do not appear particularly controversial. The conceptual issues involve whether bidding provide an off-the-shelf product with the actual product is only in the planning stage is lying or is an acceptable business practice. In placing a paradigm level over the real manufacturer's level deceptive, does lobbying your former employer on behalf of your current employer constitute a conflict of interest? These questions will generate discussions because these are conceptual, at the conceptual level, these are points of dilemma questions. So these questions will certainly generate discussion. Indeed, Paradigm asserted that it had nothing done wrong and was simply engaging in common business practices. The issue of the conflict of interest is so hard to decide that laws have been enacted making it illegal for workers who have left the government employ to lobby their former employers for specified period of time. So the conceptual issues involved whether like providing an off-the-shelf product when the actual product is on the planning stage, whether it is lying, because in the factual stage it is told only existing systems would be considered, but Paradigm did not have any such system running. Again, it has put its own label on another, like on the real manufacturer's level. Was it also like hiding one's own identity? And then having this new employee to lobby for Paradigm to SSA, was it ethical or not? Can we do it in that way? So these are the conceptual issues. The moral issues then include the following. Is lying an acceptable business practice? Because we find lying has happened over here. Is it all right to be deceptive if doing so allows your company to get a contract? Because by pasting the sticker on level on the existing, like on the real manufacturer's level, it's a deceptive case that we have done. So here what happens, lying and deceit, if it is not acceptable in a personal value system, if it is not accepted in a person's own life, then it is not accepted equally in business situations also. So, if conceptually we decide that paradigm's practices were deceptive, then our analysis indicates that their actions were unethical. So, if from we get our concepts clear over here, if we study the facts over here and get our concepts over here and come to the conclusion, yes, they have lied, they have been deceptive, they have used the persons in our employees' contacts in a wrong way to get certain benefits. If these are the conclusions, and if these are not acceptable in person's own individual life situations, these are not like welcome things to be done, then equally so in business situation, these are not ethical practices. So we can try to understand these techniques through some techniques like which we call line drawing and flowchart. In line drawing technique is used for situations in which the applicable moral principles are clear, but there is a gray area about which the ethical principle applies. So, line drawing is performed by drawing a line along the various examples and hypothetical situations are placed. At one end is placed the positive paradigm, and at the example of something that is unambiguously morally acceptable. At the other end is placed a negative paradigm, an example of something which is unambiguously morally not acceptable, and in between we try on going on increasing the line. So we will try to see the application of this in a Pentium chip case. In 1994-95, it was discovered and widely reported that the latest version of the Intel Pentium chip had flaws. At first, Intel sought to hide this information, but later came around to a policy of offering consumer chips in which the flaw had been corrected. We can use line drawing to get some insight into this problem. So, for a positive paradigm, we will use the statement that products should perform as advertised. In the negative paradigm, we will be knowingly selling products that are defective and that will have negative effect to customers' applications. A few examples that can add to the line are as follows. If we go like there will be a flaw in the chip, but it truly is undetectable and won't affect any customer's applications. There are flaws in the chip, the customer is informed of them, but no help is offered. A warning label says that the chip should not be used for certain applications. Recall notices are sent out and all flawed chips are replaced, and replacement chips are offered only if the customer notices the problem. So, this we can see like these we can place in the in increasing order from this side to a negative side to the way towards which is in a more positive way. And we can take a decision like which is the action which needs to be done, which will move our action solution that we are providing from a negative paradigm to a positive one. So, according to this line drawing, the approach taken by Intel wasn't the best of the ethical choices, because what we find over here is First, Intel sought to hide this information, which is more on the negative paradigm, but later came around to a policy of offering consumers chips in which the flaw had been corrected. So, who were these consumers? How do we know, like, more consumers in times to come will not be suffering this? So, or like all the chips should be recalled back. So, these will be the actions that needs to be justified. And what we see over here is like Intel may not have qualified to this fully positive thing where the product should be functioning as it is advertised. So, our situation, there is a flaw, customers aren't informed and the magnitude of the problem is minimized. So, there is a flaw, customers aren't informed and the magnitude of the problem is minimized, fit on this line. So, it will fit, there is a flaw somewhere over here, and like customers aren't informed and the magnitude of the problem is minimized, will fit somewhere over here, because it is not one of the, it has taken some measure to replace, but having like there is a flaw and the customers are informed of it, people in dark over here, so it will somewhere be over in this range. Next technique is called flow charting. Flow charts are very familiar to engineering students. They are most often used in developing computer programs, also find application in other engineering situations and disciplines, and it's often used to describe business processes and procedures. So, in engineering ethics, flow charting will be helpful for analyzing a variety of cases, especially those in which there is a sequence of events to be considered or a series of consequences that follows from each decision. So, the advantage of flowchart to analyze an ethical problem is that it gives a visual picture of the situation and allows you to readily see the consequences that flows from each decision. So, if we use the flowchart technique to discuss about the Union Carbide plant in Bhopal case, where like a toxic substance was released and it mixed with water to create toxic fumes, we will see like how which incident led to which happening and what were the consequences of it. So, first we see Union Carbide would like to build a plant in Bhopal. So, if it is, there is always a yes-no type of thing. First question to be asked is, are safety laws in India as strict as in US? If it is yes, then design the plant as in US. If it is no, then next question comes, are local laws adequate for safe operation? If it is yes, then design according to local standards. If it is no, then there could be two options. Decide on minimal standards that will ensure local safety, or build a plant anyway and assume risk. If we are designing according to decide on minimal standards that will ensure local safety, and we try to answer the question, is this cost effective? Then if it is yes, then build a plant. If it is no, then invest elsewhere. So application of a simple flow chart to the Bhopal case, emphasizing the possible decisions made during consideration of the location of the plant in India. And what we see about maybe these were like the more concern was about the strictness of the safety rules, and then in India the local laws present over there, and what are the minimum safety rules, minimal standards for maintaining safety. So when you are making a choice of where to put your plant, then what are the decisional flows that you take which guides your action? And what is then if you are moving by cost effectiveness? And it also talks somewhere of your willingness. If it is so, like maybe our safety laws in India as strict as US, if yes, design the plant as in US, if no, then you are going for these actions which are somewhat in a compromised nature. But if you are in a virtuous nature, if you are a virtuous kind of person, where you really respect the safety rights of other person, and you realize your duties towards maintaining the safety of the other person, then this flow of actions you may not have done. Even if safety rules and laws in India are that not strict, nothing stops you from being proactive in nature to implement high degree of safety in the plant that you are trying to do in India. That talks of your virtuous nature, which like tries to give you a perspective of life which helps you to respect your duties, respect the rights of other person, and realize your duties to respect those rights to the of the individual and your duties to the society at large. So in continuation of that, so like maintenance needed on flare tower. So is MIC tank filled? If it is no, go ahead. Yes. Then are other safety systems operating? No. Defer maintenance until other systems are available. If it is yes. Will these other systems adequately prevent accidents? No. Then defer maintenance. If it is yes, perform maintenance. An alternative flow chart for the Bhopal case, emphasizing decisions made when deactivating the flare tower for maintenance. So in this case again, these flow of thought could have been happened, but which would have led them to go for this. But again, wherever we are talking of this no, and then go ahead and all this type of things, it again talks of very much important is understanding the gravity of the situation, understanding our responsibility, even if something, because this is such a high safety issue, what is our degree of responsibility? What is the degree of proactiveness required on our part, the duty required on our part to see like whether these things what we are assuming are really working or not. Have we taken enough measure? Have we done our duty properly to see whether these things are working, or we have assumed like these are working and we have gone ahead with the maintenance part. So again and again, maybe at the cost of repeating, we are talking of our, as engineers, focusing on the virtuous nature and the understanding the duties of engineers towards the safety, security, health of the other persons, other stakeholders of the society at large, and to proactively check for the things instead of just assuming things are all right and will be taking their own course of action. Because the harm provided or could be so large scale that even the cost could outweigh all the benefits of the project. So sometimes it may so happen there are conflict problems. An area of ethical problem relates to a choice between two conflicting moral values, which both of them may seem to correct. So how do we select in this situation? Can be done in three ways. So like there could be conflicting moral choices, but one is obviously more significant than the other. Like protecting the health and safety of the public is more important than a duty to the employer. So in this case, the resolution of conflict is a very easy choice. Second solution is sometimes called the creative middle way. So this solution is an attempt at some kind of compromise that is going to work for everyone. So the emphasis here is on the word creative, because it takes a great deal of creativity to find out the middle ground that is acceptable to everyone, and with a great deal of diplomacy it can be sold to everyone. And the steps to solving the ethical dilemma are like we should have the moral clarity, identifying the relevant moral values, identifying the moral values and reasons in the situation. We should have conceptual clarity, be clear about the key concepts, be clear about the conceptual issues involved. What you're asked to do may not be good for the organization in the long run. Informed about the facts, often relevant information. This means gathering information that is pertinent in the light of the applicable moral values. We need to get informed about the options, like we need to consider all realistic options. Initially, ethical dilemmas seem to force us into two-way choice, do this or do that. Either bow to a supervisor's orders or blow the whistle to the town authorities. A closer look often reveals additional options. So next step is being well reasoned, make a reasonable decision, arrive at a carefully reasoned judgment but weighing out the relevant moral reasons and facts. This is not a mechanical process that a computer and algorithm might do for us. Instead, it is a deliberation aimed at integrating all the relevant reasons, facts and values in a morally reasonable manner. So, if there is no one solution which is coming up, we will go for a satisfying solution. sometimes what happens, like codes of ethics are a solution for ethical decision making. Like what we have found, like what we have discussed in the three ways is, first, sometimes if two things are coming in conflicting in nature, and if you find like the safety and security is there, and then we're talking of the loyalty towards the employer, safety and security is the primary choice. Then we have discussed about the creative solution, where you have to try to find out a middle path, so that maybe if in situations like this, then whether we can work for a creative one. If there are more of moral dilemma happening, and then conflicts are happening, conflicting situations coming up, then we have to go for the analysis at the factual level, conceptual level, and at the moral issues level. And also, sometimes what happens, if there are codes of ethics to be followed, both at the professional codes of ethics and codes of ethics at the organizational levels are given, and certain conflicting situations are happening, the codes of ethics are guide, help to us in solving these problems. So what we find over here, codes of ethics are state the moral responsibilities of engineers as seen by the profession and represented by a professional society. Because they express profession's collective commitment to ethics, codes are enormously important, not only in stressing engineers' responsibilities, but also in supporting the freedom needed to meet them. And what we find, it helps in serving 8 essential roles: serving and protecting the public, providing guidance, offering inspiration, establishing shared standards, supporting responsible professionals, contributing to education, deterring wrongdoing, strengthening a profession's image. So, in this discussion today, we have continued with our earlier discussion of understanding what are the ethical pillars of decision making, how we apply that in cases, and how we understand what are the issues in a particular case, which are of ethical dilemma, and we try to see it from the factual level, conceptual level, and the moral level. And then if we see, like, if there are conflicting situations happening where, like, we are not able to decide maybe which one is the correct thing for us to do, there are certain priority issues, like again health and safety of the public at large, which is of paramount and prime importance, which to be given importance first in these kind of things. And generally it is a very easy way to solve if it is having a conflict with any other conflicting demands. If in other situations there are conflicting demands, we can solve it by taking a middle way in a very creative way. If it is more complex and we see, like, we can do this issue level analysis at factual, conceptual, and moral issue level to find out how to solve this conflict. And also we can refer to the codes of ethics of the profession, which helps us as a guideline to find an answer to the conflict and conflicting demands and give a proper solution to it. Thank you.